Markets opened moments ago basically flat, up slightly after the Dow closed down more than 900 points yesterday over pandemic fears. That boost largely fueled newly this morning by the GDP, which grew 33.1% in the last quarter. President Trump has been celebrating this big GDP number since Monday, 3 days before the report even came out. It's a good number. It's a very good number. We are definitely moving in the right direction. But it absolutely does not mean that the economy is back. Don't forget, after this historic increase in GDP, before this historic increase, we had a massive drop in the second quarter. And even with today's number, GDP is still far below pre-pandemic levels. The growth was largely due to multiple stimulus bills over the summer. Those bills acted as a lifeline to businesses and individuals who are out of work. But now there is no sign of any further relief coming in the near future. So where does that put us? All of this is coming as we have seen a record number of COVID cases for the last several days, which means we could see businesses closing as the weather gets colder without a safety net this time. So no, we're not completely out of the woods just yet. Joining me now to discuss, White House trade advisor and assistant to President Trump, Peter Navarro. Peter, this is a very good number, but is it too soon to take a victory lap?
Yes, we're clear-eyed about the challenges ahead. We've got basic structural problems we're facing because of the virus that came from China. We have issues with our transportation sector, our entertainment sector, the sports, things like that. And I think what's important here is that as we approach an election day, that we think about what's the best way to keep a recovery going over time. And basically, my job as the Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy is push ahead 5 different types of policies. And we like tax cuts, deregulation, strategic energy dominance. We like it when we have robust defense spending. And most of all, President Trump loves having good trade deals. These are the 5 points of the policy compass stuff that have really driven our growth over and above the stimuluses that we've had through the first 3 phases. So clearly, you and I are both in strong agreement about the fact that moving forward, we have challenges ahead. And I think that's why this election is so important.
But even energy dominance, sir, energy sector accounts for 6.8 million jobs in the United States. Small businesses employ 60 million people in the United States. We've lost 1 out of 5 small businesses in the last 6 months. And without more PPP and a stimulus program, we're at risk of losing a whole lot more.
You're right. The question is, of course, who you want to blame for that. Our view at the White House here, and I've seen this really firsthand with Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and the president, is that we wanted a deal get done for the last 6 weeks. It's just been very difficult negotiating with the other side. But look, we believe that all job creation is local. So you can cite the big statistics about small business, but if you look at something like the disagreement over fracking, if you look at just Michigan and Pennsylvania, you've got, I think it's 16,000 fracking wells there, hundreds of thousands of people who work in that industry directly and hundreds of thousands more indirectly. So, if you have one president who likes fracking and another president who may not like fracking, there's a flip-flop there. That makes a difference. Defense spending, Steph, I think this is a really important overlooked discussion. We never had it in the debate. But in the Obama-Biden administration, they cut defense spending by 16%. President Trump did it at record levels. And, if you go across the Midwest and the North, you've got, for example, Bath Iron Works booming, the Marinette Shipyard, the Philly Shipyard, combat vehicle plants in places like York, Pennsylvania, Lem, Ohio. These are good jobs. They've been able to sustain themselves during the pandemic. Those defense industries have been working. And so these are the kinds of things that we need to think about at the micro level, even as we talk about more stimulus.
Well, let's talk about those manufacturing jobs and the Rust Belt, because between 2017 and 2020, that's pre-pandemic, employment in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Ohio grew only 2%. Compare that to 4.5%, which is the national average. So for those people in manufacturing jobs in those Rust Belt states, why is it that the Trump administration did so well for them? Why should they vote for him again?
I think the relevant statistics there are the unemployment rates in those states, and they were all at record lows. I mean, we were doing as good as possible in those states. But if you think about, let's take the state of Michigan. Again, the defense spending, Sterling Heights. You've got a great General Dynamics plant there cranking out strikers. Really good jobs. The U.S. Mexico-Canada agreement, the replacement for Joe Biden's NAFTA, that is the auto industry's Full Employment Act, because what it does is it brings home those jobs. USMCA also helps dairy farmers from Minnesota, Michigan, across to Wisconsin, because we can sell more to the Canadians. I mean, in Michigan, for example, our tariff policy, I mean, little things like tart cherries. I don't know if you know this stuff, but Traverse City is the tart cherry capital of the world. Turkey's dumping cherries into the United States. President Trump comes to the rescue with tariffs. So I think the people, particularly in the battleground states of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, as well as Minnesota, understand that President Trump does have a blue-collar focus.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.